everyone, and welcome to the What's a Pilgrim podcast. This is a safe place where we talk about what's going on around our community at Pilgrim School. Our main purpose is to document the events and have deep conversations between people at Pilgrim, as well as to create an open place for everyone to share their experiences, make new connections, and understand each other more. We will also often invite some special guest speakers to participate in this podcast.
This is our fourth and last episode of the What's Up Pilgrim podcast before the school year of 2020-2021 ends. So I hope that we will have a good time together today. By this time, I think you all already know I'm Tiffany and my co-host is Angus.
Hey Tiffany, I'm kind of sad this is our last episode for this school year already, so I will enjoy every bit of this conversation today. In today's episode, we're going to explore a different type of podcast compared to the previous ones. It's not an interview, but instead, it's going to be a great discussion between us, the hosts, and the guests.
Yep, we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, which is studying abroad, and how us and the guests overcome or experience them. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get into it.
Hi everyone, we're so happy to have two special guests joining us today. Please welcome to the mic Junior Sydney and Sophomore Snow.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you guys so much for spending time with us. During this conversation, please feel free to ask each other any questions that you may have to other guests or to us. It does not have to be us asking you questions because this is your platform to voice your experiences and learn from each other.
Yep. And first of all, let's introduce ourselves. Are you studying abroad? And if yes, how long have you been studying there? If no, where are you planning to study abroad? And what are you most excited about and or nervous about? I guess I can start first. So I'm Tiffany, and I am studying abroad in the U.S. That's why I'm sitting here right now. And I've been studying here for 3 years.
Hello everybody, my name is Snow, and this is my 4th year studying here in the US, and I was from China.
Hi, I'm Sydney. I've lived in America my whole life in Los Angeles, and I still live in Los Angeles, but I'm currently thinking about doing abroad for university.
My name is Angus. I've also lived in America all my life in LA. And I'm not sure where I'm going to study abroad, but I'm kind of worried about the language barrier because I'm not too great at languages.
Yeah, where are you planning to go, Sydney?
I'm thinking about going to the UK for higher education.
Right.
That's what I've been thinking mostly about. Not really other countries, only because I've been to the UK multiple times, so I know a lot about it. But I'm still open to other countries.
So what are you most, generally, what are you most excited about and or nervous about?
I'm definitely excited and nervous. I'd say I'm more excited. I'm just very comfortable going to the UK, specifically London. I have a lot of family and friends there. I go usually like once a year with my family. So I know the culture. I know, my way around. I love it there. So I think it'd be a good fit for me to go abroad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, are there any other big reasons that you would want to study there other than family and being in the UK a lot?
Yeah, I think going abroad is just, you learn a lot from it because, living in the same place your whole life, you're comfortable with that, and that's great. But I think it's also important to go outside of your comfort zone and to experience new things, new cultures, new people, even, new foods and shopping and all the, you know what I mean? There's so much to experience, and you shouldn't limit yourself, I think.
So what about you, Snow? Generally speaking, what were your 3 biggest reasons that you want to study here?
Okay, so I have a different story. I actually didn't want to come to study in the US, but because of a lot of political reasons, my dad insisted that I need to come here to continue my education instead of staying in China. And so my first year here was really rough because it's hard to make friends here, and most of the people that I talk to are still Chinese, and then I couldn't fit in most of the time. And I was being really depressed, but as time passes by, I get more and more comfortable with studying here and making friends here. Yeah.
Great, great. So this is your 4th year, really?
Yeah.
I thought you were here like longer. Your
Yeah.
accents are so good.
Yeah.
Oh my god, thank you.
Yeah.
I thought you were here like middle school or something.
Yeah, I was here
5th grade?
6th grade, and I skipped 7th grade, and I did 8th grade, and then 9th grade, 10th grade.
Whoa. Skip 7th grade. Oh, so you went from middle school to high school.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Uh-huh.
That makes sense. Well, how do you feel, or what do you think about the new cultures that you're gonna experience? Like, for example, I heard from England that there's a culture called roadman culture that involved to even like create its own music style. Do you know what that is?
I've never heard of that.
Really?
No. What is that?
I'm not sure. Brevin, since you're here, since you're all with us right here, do you want to explain that culture? It's fine.
Okay, so the roadman culture it's a specific group of guys who like their characteristics are they like wearing big baggy clothes. Like if you had a big shack and man's not hot, like the way he dressed in that. Yeah, those type of people, they like raising the voice a lot, very vulgar, very violent. But they're usually just generally nice guys.
Do you see them often?
That sounds interesting. I've never seen or heard of that.
Really?
No.
Oh,
But it's interesting. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many things that, you don't even think about.
Ooh, I guess that's the culture. But thank you, Brevin, for your input. So, do you think that you see more art in museums in London since they have like so much of it? And when I heard of UK and London, the aesthetic only, the buildings
Yeah.
and the sky and the restaurant is so like antique.
Uh-huh.
So, what do you think? What do you feel about that?
I mean, I think in general, when I go to different places, whether it's like New York, Paris, London, you want to experience all the things that are unique to that city. So yeah, in London, there's like amazing museums, amazing architecture. It's gorgeous. It's honestly one of my favorite things about the city is like the architecture. I just love it. It's not something you get in LA.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I love it.
So I want to lead you to a bigger picture. Do you think that people would come here to study abroad just because of the aesthetic of the artistic field?
That's an interesting question. I think so. It might just not be as easy for me to see why people would come because I lived in Los Angeles my whole life. So if anything, I see not the positives in it, even though I do love Los Angeles. But
Right.
I don't see it being like romanticized as much as other people maybe. But I mean, looking at it from an outside perspective, Los Angeles has amazing things to offer. I mean, we have great colleges, great, fashion program, FIDM,
Yeah.
right? Great fashion
Uh-huh.
college. So I would see why people would love to come to Los Angeles.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think the way that I was mistaken. I was asking London.
Oh, what
Yeah, here is London. I'm sorry. I
no, it's okay.
But that was a good input about it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's because my sister's going to FIDM.
Yeah.
So I definitely see that people do come here for like Hollywood, and
Right.
artistic, right? But not as much as London. So do you think that people would come there to study about art more than the others?
I mean, I think so. I think one of the top 5 fashion schools in the world, London has 2 of them, which is London College of Fashion and Central St. Martin's, I believe. Which I've really considered. I love both those colleges or universities. So yeah, I mean, it would make sense for people. London is a huge fashion hub. It's one of the biggest in the world, besides like Milan and New York, of course. But yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, talking about you, what field or industry do you imagine yourself working in?
I've thought about this a lot. I love fashion,
Right.
but I'm not the best at art. So I'm thinking like the business side of fashion, like fashion management, fashion business. There's so much different things that people don't think about when it comes to fashion. There's so many different components. So probably something on the business side, behind the scenes, kind of. Yeah.
Oh, but I heard that you want to work somewhere in the government though, because you always, I mean not always, but you shared with me one time last year, I think, you say you want to study politics. Do you want to do something about fashion and politics? Is that what's in your mind?
Maybe, but probably not.
Probably not.
I like business and numbers and stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow, you're going to the same field as mine. I also like fashion and food, so I think business, and I also studying business too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So exciting.
We'll see. We're gonna have a company to work together.
Yes.
So, Snow. Yep. Your turn. What are some of the American cultures that you are looking forward to experiencing? When you were in China, did you hear anything about like American culture that you really want to like experience when you come here?
Okay, so the first thing that I heard about being here is people don't care about a lot of stuff, which is somehow kind of true. And then it's just like a more casual way to talk, or like talk with your peers, or even talk with teachers. Like here, it's so different than studying here, especially the teacher experience is so different than what you experience in Asia. Because most of the teachers in Asia, they only focus on your study, but not like your personal life or your mental health. But even at Pilgrim, the teachers are so supportive. They like care about all like aspects of your life and being supportive, and then like help you to find a solution when you have problems in life. And that's the part that I think is very different than Asia, and then I've experienced it after I came here.
If you can say a word to your favorite teachers, what would you say? Like, not favorite, one of your favorite teachers at Pilgrim. Yeah, who would you say a word to? Because since you mentioned that, who? I'm asking you.
I know. What would you say, or who would you? Probably Coach Melly. Like he helped me a lot.
A lot.
Okay, a lot. Like
I get that. Yeah.
And so I know you're a really good singer and pianist, right? I've heard that kind of, and the United States has a pretty big music and entertainment industry.
Oh my God.
Did you think you'd become more famous or plan to succeed more in the U.S.?
Okay, I've actually thought about that question before, because U.S. has some like best music schools, and but the thing is, consider my race, I'm Asian. They're like, until now, I don't see any big Asian artists in like this country, except right now it's BTS, but no other like specific singer or like just Asian were big. So that's why I'm concerned about that. So I'm not sure if I can really be really successful, but I will try my best. And like the cultural part, it's definitely easier to be successful in China, I feel like. And then I know since I'm here, I gotta try extra hard. So that motivates me a bit.
I have a question. For Snow, you mentioned that like you didn't really want to come to America to study.
Yes.
Do you like want to stay here now? Like, are you happy you came here?
Yeah, that's a good question actually. Now that I'm more used to here, like I'm actually willing to stay here after finishing my education in college, and because most of my friends are planning to stay here too, and then the people around me, they're all from here, so now I'm considering staying here instead of going back to China.
Nice.
No, but yeah, I agree that. That's really good. I was thinking about you saying that you being Asian has a very big factor in you succeeding, right? But I feel like there's a lot of Asian American artists there, like Conan Gray. one of those people, you know, they're like Asian Americans. So I feel like if you have like a connection or like have a big motivation, like the artist here, I think you can succeed here. Do you want to succeed here, or you want to like learn from here and then bring your name back to China and then work as an artist?
Definitely here, because to be honest, when we're talking about music, Western, like in the Western world, there are so many talented people like Jacob Collier or many composers, conductors. They're so great, and then they're all from here. And then I will be very grateful if one day I can collab with them. Or,
Wow!
yeah,
let's go.
That'd be amazing.
Snow, despite like kind of like your hindrances in like America, especially, do you think there's like enough opportunity? Maybe not yet, but maybe if you have enough time in America, and inspiration, like you're mentioning all these talented artists, to like achieve your dream, or I don't know, maybe not dream, but like what you want to do.
Oh, I definitely think like there are many opportunities, but you just have to find the right moment, especially because now that internet and social medias are so big and they help so many musicians to promote their music, and then like it also got me to get to know a lot of cultural music that I've never got to know before because I don't live in that country, right? So yeah, I definitely find a lot of opportunities right now.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good for you. I don't know if you do or not, but I feel like you have like a very bright future. Seriously. Like right now, I just feel like you should like kick every other distraction from you and just like focus on that line. And you're just gonna be like,
that's what I'm thinking about right
we're
now.
talking with some celebrities right now. We are part of her childhood. So yeah, and same question for you, Cindy. I'm just curious. Do you want to be in London, or you want to like have a career in here? Like, in America.
Well, if I do university in London, I would definitely want to stay there. I think, depending on hopefully I get a good job. But if I stay in America and do college, I would still probably consider going to London afterwards, just because like it's a great experience. Like, why wouldn't I? You know what I mean? So you have your whole life to
place, right?
Yeah,
I get it.
And yeah, I feel like everyone has like a place they love. I just love London.
Yeah, actually talking about that, I used to want to go to UK and study. But then yes, I did. I wanted to when I was in middle school, like a lot. Because they have like great music programs too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I've been there and I love the country. I love like views and everything, but somehow because of my personal family reasons, I stayed here. Yeah, so I definitely see why Sydney wants to go to UK.
It's so pretty. Like, can you imagine? I have like an image in my head right now about London. Oh my god,
it's gorgeous.
I know. Thank you for sharing, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Sydney, also like continuing with you. So we kind of talked about language barrier a little bit. So London, just mainly Spain. I think definitely the main language. It's literally called English, right? So there's no language barrier. Do you think that partly, or at least like a little bit, or not at all, affected your choice to go to London?
Definitely. I've thought about other countries in Europe, like Italy or France.
Yeah.
But the language barrier is just a lot.
Yeah.
And even in England, like, there's a huge accent barrier. Luckily in London, like, I understand the accent, but if you go to other places in the UK, like Scotland or Wales, the accent's a lot heavier and a lot harder for me to understand at least. It definitely takes time to get used to, but that could be, something to consider too if you're thinking about going to the UK for college.
Yeah. So yeah,
we both can speak from that, right? Like a language, part of coming to US. Did you struggle any when you were?
Well, as you can see, I talk a lot when I get to know two people, and I don't know, it just wasn't a part of my hardships, I guess, because you guys are so welcoming. They like, I don't give a thing about you not about you not being influenced, because it's so hard to speak another language, because you guys are taking Spanish and Chinese, and you know how hard it is. So you guys are so welcoming and helping. That's why I don't think it was a big barrier for me. And my friends always say that, oh, language barrier. It's just that not you didn't want to talk.
Yes, definitely.
If you want to have a conversation, they will always help you. Like Sydney and Angus and everyone, they're always like, welcome. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for asking that.
No problem.
I have a question for you, Sydney. So you say that you want to go to London because a big part of it is culture, right?
Yeah.
But language is also a part of culture. Is that what you interested in, or you are more interested in other part of the culture? You know what I mean?
I think I'm interested in a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like, I think I've been to the UK like 8 times maybe in my life. And like every time I learn something new about the culture. So yeah, language would be one of them, but there's so many things like that I haven't probably thought of yet. But yeah, definitely.
Also, there's something that I noticed is like people from US, they don't really usually consider to study abroad or anything. But people from, at least in my country, in China, a lot of people consider to go to other countries like Australia, UK, US. How about in your country, right? Is it the same?
Yeah, it's really the same.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them want to go to the U.S. because it's a big country that you always have heard. But other one, like, if U.S. is not an option, they usually go to Singapore, Australia, New Zealand. Those are some kind of quote unquote cheaper country compared to the U.S. Yeah.
That's super interesting. I never really thought of it like that.
Right?
But I realized like a lot of people, like a lot of my friends haven't considered.
Yeah, when they talk about college, I was like, oh, this college here where the others stay, but they never say, oh, in this country, maybe in that country.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like no one thinks about the colleges in other countries. They're like, what colleges are you going to? And it's like always in the U.S. It's never outside of the U.S.
Yes.
But there's so many colleges in other countries that have so much to offer.
Exactly.
Right.
But people like limit themselves.
Good
They
job,
like never
US.
think about it. Yeah.
Good job, U.S. in marketing, advertising. I have never heard any like university in England. Yeah, just me, but in the U.S. it's like UC.
Love Cambridge and Oxford.
Oh, is that a school in in England?
England.
Yeah, I was like, oh, UC, New York, NYU, Berkeley, and all of that. They did such a good job in marketing, right?
Exactly, I agree.
Well, I think also people when they think, oh, I'm going to NYU, USC, Stanford. I think they're like, oh, I'll do a semester or a year abroad, which a lot of colleges offer, and they have great programs. But people don't realize you can do all 4 years in another country, which sounds amazing. Yeah. Because some colleges have amazing study abroad programs too.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to the next challenge, which is cross culture barriers. That's big one. Big opinion. So, now that you're here in the U.S., what are some of the biggest cultural differences between China and the U.S. that you have confronted so far here?
Oh my god. So many, I don't even know where to start.
The biggest one.
The biggest one about dating part is a very big part, right? And then the way that people date in China is completely different than the way that people date here.
Really?
Yeah, so different.
People have to like be friends and get to know each other and have to very like that person, and then ask that person, will you be my girlfriend or boyfriend, and then start dating. But here people are like asking you out first and then try for a few times and then decide whether we want to continue or not.
Right.
So that's like a very big part that I discovered when I came here.
Is there anything else that stood out to you? Oh, there was one time we talked about parenting, right?
Oh my god, yes. parenting. I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but like Asian parents are extremely strict. Like most of them, no exceptions. Grades are the most important thing, and then other than grades, whatever you do, like either sport or like any activities are not as important. Even at school, okay, we have PE, we have sports teams, but nobody really put in their heart into sports or anything, unless you're a professional. Not like here when like school really values athletes.
Right, yeah.
Right? And then if you're good at art, they want to encourage you to do more art. If you want to do music, they're also really supportive about it. But thank God my parents are supportive about me learning music. But not a lot of parents are like that. The ideal Asian kids are like, I want to be a doctor or I want to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Sydney? How I really want to hear from perspective of people here because I've never talked to anyone. How is parenting like different from what Snow been telling you?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit different than that. I think my parents are always very supportive of me, but it's more so you don't have to have perfect straight A's, A pluses, but as long as you try your hardest. If you have a B in the class, but you tried your hardest, that's okay. But also you still have to challenge yourself, and I think at least for my parents, like I take AP class because I want to challenge myself. I don't want to take the easiest route to get an A. Like I'd rather take an AP and maybe get a B or B plus, but still I took the harder class just to challenge myself.
Right.
So yeah, but I think they're supportive, definitely.
Are they strict in any other way?
I mean, personally, my parents, we have a really good relationship, so they're not super strict with me and they trust me. But yeah, I feel like I could see how like a lot of parents in America are less strict.
Yeah, they're carefree.
Yeah, and maybe like more lenient.
Yeah, it's like you're 18, out of here.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of households are like that. Like 18, get a job, leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I think there's some strict parents here and there, but I feel like it's like mainly it's a more casual kind of like relationship between parent and child. I feel like.
Yes.
It's so cute when I see the dad and the little kids. He's like, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Hey, buddy." And she always like that. Never like, "Hey, son, let's go, son."
It's like Asian
son.
Is that how?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, from my parents, they focus on their career to build it, and so they didn't spend a lot of time with my sister. But here, you can clearly see how the dad and the kindergarten kids say like, "Hey buddy, let's go," like, "Hey buddy, let's play this together."
Yeah.
But the parent here in Asia just like stand there and just like watch.
There's also like from the kid's perspective, you always have to respect your.
Yeah,
I mean, you
exactly.
still do here, but like it's much worse than here, probably.
I guess like a slight rebellious culture, kind of. I think.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, but
Yeah. Alright. Let's continue. So, Sydney, there will be definitely many cultural differences between American and British people, but I heard that you experienced some of them already. And I read that British people never talk to strangers or strike up a casual conversation when they are in public places. Which seems over top to me, in my opinion, because in the US, when we have dine out at a restaurant or go into an amusement park, people usually greet each other and say, like, have a small talk, like, how's up, what's up, like that. Because it's such a human thing to do. How would you react to that and to other culture changes that are so different from what you've been living?
Yeah, so like when I go to England, for example, like when I'm on the tube, the subway.
The tube?
The tube.
too.
You know about the tube?
Underground.
The underground, yeah. No one talks to anyone. They stand there, they sit, and if you talk to someone, it's like my aunt told me, she was like, you don't talk to people on the underground that you don't know because like they're going to work, they're going to a restaurant, they're going to meet friends. It's very business-esque, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I don't really talk a lot anyways, so it kind of works out. But also, what I guess might be a culture shock is like people are so proper and quiet and like put together and polite at tables, which I come from a family that's loud and not. They have manners, but in England it's like super manners.
Yes,
like everyone is perfect, prim and proper. So it's definitely gonna be interesting.
How did you deal with it? Did you just ignore it, or did you feel bothered? Is this such a like natural thing to do, right? Just cross the street, it's like, hey, like help them with something. Like, like, how is it to feel like you're in a place with no one?
I mean, I usually keep to myself anyways, so for me it's not a big deal. But I can definitely see how for someone that's very outgoing, who talks a lot,
and
it could be different. Yeah.
And I want to add something like that's why when people, I don't know about you, but at least for me, when I first came here, I always find Chinese people to be friends because we have like more things that we share in common. And I believe that's the same for a lot of people when they're going like studying abroad or work in another country. They're always trying to find the people that like came from the same country to like get more connections or feel more at home.
Okay, I guess that's a good question. It just really depends on you, right?
Yeah, definitely depends on the person.
Yeah. Next, this is like, I think this is the last section because we're running out of time, unfortunately, but let's talk about homesickness. Right, homesickness.
Tiffany knows everything about me because we lived together recently.
Yeah,
really?
we're living together.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Honestly, I would never believe that I would experience this before I came here. But guess what, guys? I'm the one who sobbed like crazy when I saw Coach Manley taking care of the athletics on the Palm Day. I was gonna sit right there. I miss my dad. Because this reminded me so much of my dad doing massage for me before my tennis game. but anyway, Sydney, do you feel how do you feel about homesickness since the U.S. is your home country? What do you think you would do to maybe forget those feelings for a bit?
Yeah,
but you said your families are there, right?
Yes. So I've experienced homesickness before, like just going on like trips. I'm such a homebody. But I'm lucky that I have family there.
Yeah.
And my mom loves England and my dad loves England, so hopefully they'll visit me a lot.
But are you gonna live in case that you live in the dorm?
Yeah.
Right? So if you experience those feelings, what would you think you would do to like forget about those feelings?
Probably like take myself out to lunch or with friends, go shopping. Shopping always takes my mind.
That works for me too. Amen. Let's go.
Shopping,
yeah. Yeah, it's good. You know.
What about for you guys? What do you guys do to combat homesickness?
Oh my god, homesickness. I used to not have it because I started like living by myself or like not living with my parents the whole time since I was 6. So I got used to it, and then recently. Tiffany knows. I was sobbing like crazy because I miss my mom so much. I haven't seen her in 2 years.
Oh my god!
Because of the pandemic, we both cannot go back to home. And then recently, I've been through a lot, and I just miss that. I miss my supportive mom. I feel like if she's here, it would be so much better. But what I do is I can't be alone. I hate to be alone, so I surround myself with a lot of friends. And then when I'm living with Tiffany, we talk a lot, and then so that helps me a lot. And as you said, shopping, I agree. I love shopping. And it's a cure to everything. So that helps me too. But yeah, just not being by myself, just surround myself with a lot of people helps me.
Yeah, so I just hope that if you're going there, don't forget that you have friends and other people to support you if you ever feel homesick. Yeah. Well, if you go more, I feel like we're gonna cry. So let's move on. Okay, Angus.
Oh. Tiffany, are what are because you didn't speak specifically about homesick and stuff. Do you feel are there any moments where you kind of feel homesick, and what do you do to mitigate, or I don't know?
Yeah. As I mentioned, I always underestimate talking to other people a lot because I just do something by myself, but as I live with Snow, I really, really think that talking to people super helpful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's annoying sometimes, when you cry and they keep why do you keep crying? But
I'm not just
no, me, it's me.
all okay.
Yeah, it's the people who you talk to.
Yeah.
Why do you keep crying? But it's really good, and
Yeah.
just find the one that you trust the most, just to talk to, and then you know that they're gonna be patient to listen to your stuff.
Find Pisces.
What's your sign?
I'm a Virgo.
Oh,
What are you guys?
a Taurus.
Oh, Pisces.
I'm also a
heart.
Virgo.
Oh,
He's a Virgo. Let's go,
Virgo.
Alright, I think to close this short but sweet discussion for today, please say a few words to us as a host of this podcast and our audience, because you guys know.
Yeah.
Probably you don't know, but this is the last episode of this year that I created this club, so please say a few words to us and to the audience.
You want to go first?
Okay, I'll go first. So, I live with Tiffany, so I know how hard she works. She worked till 12 yesterday to prepare for today's podcast. So, she's the most responsible person that can really take care of this job. So,
I know.
So I'm really thankful for that. She has this responsibility and make this podcast so much fun. She tries so hard to think about new topics. Really, I live with her, so I know. Trust me. And then Angus, Tiffany always says, Angus is the most has the most enthusiasm in this podcast club, except in her. And then he sticks around even when he's online.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't know, but Angus is online right now. And then I just want to say thank you for sticking around the whole time, making the whole podcast so interesting from the start of this school year till now. And then also behind the scenes, the staff, Ariana and Brevin, thank you guys for so much for sticking around. I know it can be so boring when just standing there and listening to us talking, but it means a lot to us, and I believe that it means a lot to our listeners too. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, sweet. Wow.
I mean, she covered a lot of it. That was amazing. But yeah, I think this club is so amazing, and I think
In the audience, yeah.
it should stay. Oh, into the audience?
Yeah, you can talk to them because Snow mentioned us. So
Okay.
give them what you think about.
I think everyone in the audience should do research and consider studying abroad.
Oh,
I think it's amazing.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, don't just lock yourself in your country. Just do an internship or whatever.
Yes.
Not necessarily 4 years, but maybe for a week, 2 months. I don't know.
Yeah. Just a taste test almost.
Yes. If you like it, stay there. If you don't, change another country. Try it again. Life is always like this, right?
Yep. Okay, thank you to my beautiful ladies and Angus.
My mom does that all the time
I'm
because I have
talking
2 sisters. She's like, "Come on, girls," and I'm there, and I'm like,
Okay.
Just go on.
Okay, thank you so much. This is by far the most interesting, I think. The most engaging that the hosts talk the most. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you
It was
for
a
having
lot
us.
of fun, honestly.
Thank you.
It
I
was
hope
fun.
you guys learned something and
Definitely.
maybe continue this club next year.
Maybe everybody come join the club, please.
And as always, thank you to our listeners for taking the time to listen to our podcast. We hope you learned something throughout the podcast, and especially this is our last episode already, and feel more connected to our guests as well as us, the hosts of the show.
It's the last episode of this year, so thank you to those who have been supporting us and showing some love to the What's Up Pilgrim podcast. Thank you, Tiffany, for starting this podcast. It's been a really fun time, and I don't know, I think it was, I just had a great feeling to join at first, and then I had a great time being a host for this podcast and hosting with you especially.
Thank you, Angus. Thank you for everything, guys. I really hope that Angus can be the host next year, or you can bring this podcast club go on to next year, and then more people will be invited to our have a platform, a very special and private platform that they can feel more comfortable talking about their experience. If you don't want to expose your name, right, you can do it anonymous. So I just want you guys to join the club. It's very amazing here and have a good time. So thank you so much for Angus, for Ariana, who is behind the scene that helping me so much throughout this process. And thank you to all the members that joined the podcast. Like, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. Or follow us on Instagram at whatsup.pilgrim21 if you want to.
And be sure to stay positive and always stay safe. See you next year.
See you guys next year.
Bye.
Bye.